Okay, well, class got can't. It's fuzzing out my background. Not doing a great job of it, but what a chaotic day. So this is fun. I do want to make a video that goes through the exam. I know a lot of people are anxious to see what was on there and how it was meant to be done. So we're going to go through that. But yeah, a lot of chaos. So I apologize if things take a lot longer or go slower than they should. I'm going to try to respond to emails about concerns people may have about the exam. If you didn't get partial credit and it's because you did it differently than anyone else has ever done it before, and shoot me an email. We can look at it. We can try to talk about it. You understand that tomorrow is the stat fair. I'm in charge of like a dozen people, and suddenly all things are in chaos. Anybody want something cool on their resume, you can come be part of stat fair. That's going to go well. Let's go take a look at the exam. Okay, I see homework 5 is there. Let's go look at past assignments. And I'm looking for exam 1 2024 spring. And here we go. Okay, so let's I can't take it. Notice the view key button. You'll want to press that so that you can see what the correct answers were on anything that you got wrong. And let's talk about the elephant question. Not a popular question. When an elephant trumpets, the distance the sound carries is normally distributed with a mean of 58, standard deviation of 22. So on the picture, and yes, I'm drawing this in paint with my mouse, so you can all be impressed. There's my mean, there's my standard deviation. The hunter is here at 115 yards. Now the question says, what is the chance that he will be able to hear it? Obviously, if the sound carries exactly to the hunter, he'll hear it. But the probability of that is 0 because this is a continuous distribution. If the sound carries past him, then we will hear it. So we want to shade the area to the right, and the z-score 2.59. Open up the distributions applet, 2.59, and shade to the right. There's the 0.048, which there for that answer. Okay? A lot of people were confused about, do we want the area to the left or to the right? And the answer is you have to think about what does it mean if the sound carries more or less, not if the hunter is closer or further. And that was the part of that question that made it tricky. Let's try this one. When I send a request to WebAssign, the time is normally, there's 22 hours on average, standard deviation 2.1. Next week, what is the probability the response time will be less than 15 hours? So this is again going to be similar to the previous question. This is supposed to be a 22, but it's really hard to draw with the mouse. Let's see, I almost said 22 minus 15. It would be 15 minus 22. That way I make sure I get a negative z-score. Over the 2.1, shade to the left, there's the 0.004. You count the apples on a tree, normally distributed. The mean is 430, standard deviation is 130. Research group is going to select a tree. They want to know the probability they will get less than 625 apples. So I'm going to do 625 minus 430. Let's actually see if I can do this. Parentheses 625 minus 430 divided by standard deviation of 130, 1.5. So I'm looking for a graph that has a z-score at 1.5. There's a z-score of 0.5, negative 0.5. And I want the shaded area to the less than. Here is 1. Oh, yep, see, there's the key mark. So 1.5 standard deviations above the mean, shaded to the left. This is like 2.5 standard deviations up. Way down, way down. It's going to be that guy there. Below are statistics for a data set. Based on statistics, which histogram would be representative? Okay, the mean is 10, the median is 10. The mean and the median match, so it's not going to be skewed. Not skewed left or skewed right, because if it was, the mean would be pulled towards the skew. Standard deviation of 3. Let's take a look at this guy. 10, 10, that looks good. 10, oh, gee, that looks good. That looks good. This one's skewed. He's out, skewed right, out, skewed left, out. 10 is not the average of this one. This one's out double. So it's between these three. Which one looks like it has a standard deviation of 3? So if I go plus or minus 3, so that's 7 to 13, I should get more than half. If I go another one, which would 7 minus 3 is 4, up to 16. 4 to 16 should capture almost all the data. 4 to 16, more than captured almost all the data. It captured everything. Here, 4 to 16 captures maybe half. Here, 4 to 16 captures almost all the data. This is the guy that looks more realistic. If I had to guess a standard deviation here, well, it looks like plus or minus 1, and here it's something larger than 3, like 10 or something like that. So this guy here is the only one that seems reasonable. I can't click on it because it's past due. So there in the solution, we've got some explanation. Thrown back in time, middle age. Oh, I have not made the link that shows all y'all your answer. Ooh, and I can't because it would require my office computer. So wait till next week. There will be a link and you can see everybody's answers and sacrifice that happens when your building shuts down. Based on the age and breed of the cicada pitch you hear, it could be one of these for each of the 5 types of cicadas. Are these actually cicada types? Are they like? Oh, they're mixed up. This is shut up. Oh, it's backwards. Smash me. Ear bleed. Okay, I get it. There's the joke. All right. What is the average frequency? You're going to take each frequency value times its probability. See, in class, you would have to actually sit there and watch me type this out. But I paused the video, but I'm going to go back through because I want to make sure I get it right. 8.93. Okay, great. What is the probability of hearing a frequency less than 8? Oh, these are not in order. Why are they not sorted? That's really annoying. Okay, so it's these two guys. So 0.17 and 0.04 is 0.21. There we go. What is the standard deviation? Well, I have the mean. I'm going to square, copy, paste, square each of these. Should I pause the video? No, because my fingers are now on the keyboard. You're going to have to sit and watch. 80.7. Okay, so now I can take the square root of that 80. Well, this is normally when one of the classes would have ended. 80.7357. 80.7357 minus the mean 8.93 squared. Does remind me a lot of people were worried about how do I round. It says round to 2 decimal places, which is why it's giving the answer 1. But it shouldn't be a rounding class. So if you feel like rounding is what caused you to lose points, just let me know. As long as your rounding is reasonable, we can go for it. Oh, this is Robin Hood, of course. Shoots an arrow. Did you guys even notice the jokes? Like, I put in little Robin Hood jokes, and I feel like stress, anxiety for a test makes it so people doesn't hear. I'm going to have to draw this out. I don't remember the answer well enough. Okay, I can't decide whether to solve it and pause the video or to show the thought process that goes through it. Depends on whether the wind is blowing towards him or away from him. So towards and away is first, and then the probability that he hits the target or misses. Hit or miss. So wind is blowing towards him. He will hit the target with 0.31. So that's 0.31 here. If the wind is blowing away from him, he will hit the target with probability 0.86. Why does that matter so much? That's a huge difference, but okay, I guess he only practiced under one wind condition. He shoots with wind blowing towards him with probability 0.12. Great. I don't remember the question. He has just hit the target, so good, because I didn't fill out what the probabilities were for those branches anyway. What is the probability the wind is blowing towards him? I am looking for a tree diagram with 12% and then 31%. So what do we got? Arrow on 12, no. 12 to 31, nope. 12 to 31, nope. 12 to 31, good. Is that the only one? 12 to 69, no. 88, no. Okay, so there we go. Does this match? Does this actually match my picture? Did I do it in the exact same order? It would appear so. So there we go. All right. I noticed the type of vehicle drives past my house based on the day of the week. Who would? Oh, this is me thinking of my neighbors who watch everything out their window and wondering if they would collect data for me. But yeah, I think no one would actually want to collect this. What is the probability that if my dog runs out of the street on a weekend? This got a lot of people. A lot of people asking during the exam, is Friday part of the weekend? Like, how are you guys putting Friday as part of the weekend? No, Friday is Saturday and Sunday. Weekends are days that you can sleep in. Weekdays are Monday through. So, those of you wondering, is Monday through Thursday what you consider to be weekdays? I don't know. No, it's definitely Saturday, Sunday as weekend. So, on a weekend, these are the only two rows. The rest of my table I can just delete. What's the probability the next vehicle will be a truck? If I only have these two rows, then it's only 15 and 16 in my numerator. Where did my... there. So numerator 15 and 16 divided by... What's my new total? Sunday had 43 data points. Saturday had 37 data points. I'm not going to divide by the 225, which is very common error. The 225 is all of these rows. I only want Saturday and Sunday's rows. 0.3875, 30. That's annoying. The answer key has them separated. So 15 and 16 is the 31, and the 43 and 37 is the 80. I feel like you could have just done the decimal. When you first turn on the shower, the temperature is 47 degrees because it feels freezing, but it's technically not. What temperature marks the coldest? 13%. So to get the coldest 13%, I need this side and 13, negative 1.12, which is what would go right here. I guess there must be rounding. Yeah, 1.26, so it rounded. What temperature marks the coldest? So set that in your z-score equation. Keep in mind that if you get part A wrong, the answer key to part B will change to match your part A. And I am going to get a lot of emails saying, I got part A wrong, but I got part B right, and that's not possible, which means it must be a problem with your code. No, it's me trying to give you as much partial credit as possible. Let's go to, this one. So, I spent yesterday trying to go through people's exams, seeing if I can give partial credit. But let's be honest, a lot of you, I do not know what you were doing for this particular question. So, a lot of answers that did not get partial credit because y'all are creative. Okay, so let's see if I can write this out. I will pause the video for the writing because you have no idea how slow and careful I'm trying to be to do this in Paint, but the DX did not come out very well. I think the key to integrating this is realizing that this can be to the -2 power. I did see some students trying to FOIL this guy out, which is going to make it uglier. But for the integral, we're going to have this 3 that was out in front. We're going to divide by the -1, which is how he got negative. The 3 plus x to the -1 power, and x purposefully doesn't have any coefficient in the front, so that this is a very simple integral. And now I just need to put in -3 times parentheses 3 plus 21. I was going to say the bottom part is going to go to 0, but that's not actually true, is it? Shucks, I actually have to subtract -3, which means plus 3 times 3 to the -1 power, and that will give me the 0.876, which is the answer here. So I'm going to write that in here. You do need to put in the 21.19 and then plus this guy with the 0. Also, there were some students who had concerns about how can you have infinity if the thing has to add up to 1. You actually can add up infinitely many infinitely small things and have it converge. So this is a proper PDF. It does integrate to 1. Is that true? I had to real quick just prove it to myself. The integral, it's going to be -3, 3 plus infinity, which your math teacher would have said this is bad notation. You're supposed to put x as x goes to infinity. But this is infinity to the -1. This whole thing goes to 0. 3 times 3 to the -1. This goes to 1. So yes, that does work. It is a proper probability. Now, let's redo this with the median, which we can see the pattern here, right? It was this pattern where we plugged in the number we wanted here, or this pattern where we plug in the infinity we want here. So if I'm interested in this integral from 0 up to the median, set that equal to 0.5, I'm going to get this equation, but with the median right here, instead of the 21.19 or the infinity, it's this guy here equals 0.5. And welcome to an equation that's pretty tough. Although, look right here, 3 times 3 to the negative 1. This is just 1. So I can subtract the 1 to the other side. Let's divide by this negative 3. And now I've got to worry about how do I invert this. I mean, let's write it back the way that you might be used to seeing it. Like this. You can either think of invert and multiply, or you can think of multiply both of these by the other one. Whichever way it takes for you to end up with the 3 plus m on top and the 3 and the 0.5 minus 1 flipped like that. And now all we got to do is subtract the 3 to the other side. I'm imagining all of you being so impressed with my skills in Paint with a mouse. And we end up with a median value of 3. And by the time we have done this integral so many times, you get to where it's the negative 3 over 3 plus x, and then a plus 1. This has the positive 1 coming first. But there it is, the guy that matches that distribution there. So this was one of the questions that had the lowest average. I think it was tricky. It is more mathy. And if you got tripped up on it, don't feel bad. That does not mean the rest of the class cannot go well, because this idea of how to capture a mean has value, but we are not going to be integrating things like this for the rest of the semester. Okay, that is the full extent of the exam. If you have questions, do let me know. Be patient. I often get a couple dozen emails about the exam, and so I go through them as quick as I can. But yeah, tomorrow's the stat fair, and it's all chaotic because we're not doing it in Blocker anymore. We're going to go over to the Mitchell building and have the stat fair there. Other thing people want to know, what was the average? It was about 92, which is a little bit high, but there were a lot of people that did well. Most of these questions, people managed to do quite well. So fantastic. You guys are great, and we'll see you.